My name is Yusef and this is part 19 of the American show. Let us begin. So, Amy had just watched the interview. She had just watched the interview that her that her co-host did on the latest episode of the American show. And so when all of a sudden Jackie comes in to tell her to read to her a newspaper about the president and the first lady and her and their daughter, the president's daughter, the the stepdaughter of the first lady, of course, that they went to her home country, her adopted, her adopted country silver cat. She said, "Look at this! Isn't this cool?" She says, and Amy and Amy Gold says, "Well, let me read that for a moment." So she does. She reads the newspaper, and she's like, "Wow, this is interesting. Hmm, this is interesting. Well, that's nice," she says to her, and then um she gives her back the paper, and it's time for Amy Amy go to work. So it's her turn to interview a anti-movie protester. It's her turn to do that. And after she ate her breakfast watching the interview, and she was like, "Okay, I better go work now." So she gets dressed, and then she gets in her car, and she drives to work. Um, she goes to work. Everything is everything is set up for her to succeed in this interview. This is a big, big chance to show her interview skills, and she's a little bit nervous. But um, but but her co-host Patrick says, "Don't worry about it. It's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine, man. It's all gonna be okay. Don't worry about a thing." And so everything is set. He starts the introductions, and he says, "Tonight is going to be a great night for the American show." As you had just seen last night, I interviewed an anti-movie protester, and today and tonight, my co-host Amy Amy Gold will do the same. So I hope you enjoy this episode of the American Show, and and because I know I will. And then it ends, and then the rehearsal is set. She takes over. She says, "Yes, I am. I am very excited to," and then she makes up her lines. So that so the yell cut. Well, they they say cut. She does it again. She does it a couple more times, and she does it more times until she got it right. Finally, she does get it right. Everything is set. she goes to she goes to her dressing room and she just like, you know, is shaking, well, shaking herself. She's getting herself prepared. And the entire movie protester walks into the studio and they start the interview. The interview is soft enough, and then it gets to the hard questions eventually. Until she says, so I guess what I'm asking here, after every question I just asked before, to culminate to this ultimate question, why are you doing this? And he says, because I don't like movies. I don't like it. Plays and the radio and TV has been a part of American culture for decades now, and movies are ruining that for us. And then she counters that argument with another question. Yeah, but don't you think that movies are could be a part of society too, and of our society too? And he's firmly and distinctly and emphatically says no. And emphatically says no, it can't. And she says, well, okay. She says, well, in my opinion, I think it can. And but that's my opinion. In other people's opinion, the people who you're protesting with, they don't think so either. But the people who like movies and people who love movies, like myself, say that you're wrong. And he says, well, I don't necessarily care what they think. I just care what I think and my cohorts think. And to make a long story short, they talk for a little while longer for a comedy moment. They have a funny moment, and then they end. She says, "Well, it was nice talking to you, and I hope you change your mind, but you probably won't, and I respect that." And with that, she turns to the other camera. She turns to the other camera and she says, "Well, it was. Has no. This has been an informative interview, and a informative day of interviewing has well left me thirsty." And then she goes right into the sponsorship. After the interview, the same things the same thing that happened to Patrick is the exact same thing that happens to Amy Gold. Everybody, when she walks into the back into the studio, everybody's celebrating, high fiving her, like, hugging her. Wine is being drunk. You know what I mean? It's a great time. And so after that, she doesn't drink, by the way. She says goodbye, and then she goes home. She gets back into her car, and she just leaves. As she's driving, she says, "You know what? I'm gonna get myself a hot dog to celebrate." And so she goes into to a hot dog restaurant, and she eats um 4 hot dogs, and then she goes home. To be continued. Well, I hope you enjoyed this part. Well, I hope you enjoyed part 19 of the American Show. And if you did, leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Well, ring that bell to get notified, comment down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.